Hi, this is All This Science, the science podcast that describes an interesting aspect of science in 5 minutes or less. I'm Caitlyn.
And I'm Bethany, and we are the guest podcasters for this episode, Lake Overturns.
A lake overturn is also known as a limnic eruption. Limnic eruptions are rare forms of volcanic activity that take place at the bottom of lakes. The lakes must have fresh water and also be deep and still. For a lake overturn to happen, large amounts of carbon dioxide must build up at the bottom of a lake from a combination of underwater volcanoes and decaying life forms. Since the temperature of water at the bottom of a lake is lower than the water near to the surface, the carbon dioxide is able to dissolve within the water deeper in the lake. This is because the lower temperature causes the carbon dioxide particles to have less kinetic energy, and thus more can accumulate, increasing the pressure on the above water holding down the gas.
A lake overturn occurs when this collected carbon dioxide erupts, leaving the bottom of the lake. Once it rises to the surface, it creates a large CO2 cloud that moves away from the lake, suffocating anything in its path. This gas cloud causes severe oxygen deprivation. CO2 is heavier than surrounding air, therefore it replaces the air for a short period of time, making oxygen scarce. This lack of oxygen is very dangerous for people and livestock, as they are unable to get a sufficient amount of air. The carbon dioxide cloud is almost invisible, which further increases the danger level, as people cannot detect the threat coming until it is too late. Many things can trigger the CO2 to be released from the bottoms of lakes, causing a lake overturn. Where there is enough pressure built up, things like underwater earthquakes, small volcanic eruptions, and landslides can cause the lake overturn.
Lake overturn can be compared to a can of pop. The carbon dioxide dissolved within the can is similar to the carbon dioxide built up at the bottom of a lake. The pressure of the gases in the pop can will build up until you open the can, releasing the pressure, causing all the gas bubbles to rush to the top. This pressure release is comparable to when a lake overturn is triggered. Just like the bubbles rise to the top when you open a can of pop and release the pressure, the CO2 rises to the top in a lake overturn when there is a release of pressure. Now time for a brief commercial break.
Do you want to have more than a 30% survival chance if you're caught in a lake overturn? Well, you can do this with the Lake Overturn Survival Kit. The kit is equipped with a state-of-the-art gas mask to keep you from breathing in carbon dioxide, and an infrared detector to help alert you when the gas cloud is approaching. Get yours today for only $87.99, tax not included. Don't let a limnic eruption overturn your life. Call 1-800-OVERTURN and survive today.
Welcome back. As we mentioned before, lake overturns are extremely rare. Only 2 have been recorded in modern history. The more minor of the 2 disasters occurred on August 15, 1984 on Lake Manown in Cameroon, causing approximately 30 deaths. The next lake overturn occurred 2 years later and on a much larger scale. It happened on Lake Nyos in northwest Cameroon on August 21, 1986. The gas cloud was 55 yards thick and traveled at 60 miles per hour. It traveled 130 meters offshore and then settled in low-lying areas. Overnight, it asphyxiated 1,700 people and 3,500 livestock. It was one of the most deadly natural disasters to ever occur.
Limnic eruptions are very deadly. As mentioned in the commercial, you only have a 30% chance of survival. Despite these odds, there are some things you can do to increase your survival chances if you find yourself caught in a lake overturn. First, very simple. Avoid areas where lake overturns are a possibility. For example, the last 2 have both occurred in Cameroon. So maybe avoid Cameroon when you are planning your next vacation if you are concerned about lake overturns. Secondly, the carbon dioxide cloud is much heavier than air. It flows to nearby valleys and areas of low elevation. So if you're in an area where a lake overturn could happen, it would be a good idea to seek higher ground so that you stay above the cloud. If you are near a lake, watch for fizzing and bubbling, as that could be an early warning sign that a lake overturn could occur.
Today, scientists, in an effort to prevent further limnic eruptions, are degassing the lakes that are possible sites for future lake overturns. On Lake Nyos, a 672-foot pipe has been inserted that reaches to the bottom of the lake and works to pump out the CO2. Over the course of a year, it releases 206 million cubic feet of gas. Early warning systems have also been installed in the nearby towns that set off sirens and strobes to alert people if CO2 levels rise, which allows them to get a head start and flee from danger. Despite these measures, the danger is not completely eradicated, but the eruptions will occur on a smaller scale. Another lake that could be a possible location for the next limnic eruption has been located, Lake Kivu. Located between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda, the lake contains large amounts of CO2, as well as some dissolved methane. There is 1,000 times more gas in Lake Kivu than in Lake Nyos, making it a very dangerous site. The same precautions are being taken to degas this lake, just like Lake Nyos.
We hope you've learned something. Thanks for listening to All This Science. Contact us at allthisscience@gmail.com if you'd like.